Since I was a kid, always been interested in reptiles, and you know, we used to go down the river and chase lizards, catch lizards, always bringing them home for Mum. One day we caught a snake, a tiger snake. It was about that big, and we caught it, we put it in a container and brought it home to show Mum, and she nearly had a heart attack. And I always told her I want a pet snake. She said, when you move out of home, you can get a pet snake. My mum's scared of snakes, or she was. So I said, no worries. Then I moved out and I went to the pet shop and I said, I want to buy a snake. And he goes, the pet shop bloke goes, pick whatever snake you want. So I went around and I found the one with the most attitude and the one that, you know, that I really liked took fancy of, and I said, I'll take that one. And that started me on my way. And, you know, from the moment I got my first snake to now, I just love them. Absolutely love reptiles.
How did you get started into the business?
So the pet shop owner was a snake catcher.
Right.
And I was there one day talking, you know, I'd made friends with him, and he got a call and he said, I have to go and catch a snake. I said, oh, can I tag along? He goes, absolutely. So I tagged along, and you know, I was watching what he was doing, and he was searching this house. We got to this house and it was in a garage, and it was a real messy garage, and he said, just have a look, you know, he said, just have a look and see if you can see it. And I started looking, and I looked on one of the shelves. I pulled out a, you know, whatever it was on the shelf, and there was this snake sitting there. And I said, hey, I said, it's here, I found it. And he goes, not bad. So he caught the snake, you know, thing, and I said to him, I said, would you consider training me up? And he said, absolutely. So a few months training, bits and pieces, going out with him and this and that, and, you know, got my reptile license, and here I am today, 9 years later.
Oh, wow.
Or 10 years later, and, you know, I've got my own business.
Fantastic.
Catching snakes.
So what attracts snakes?
You know, I live in Werribee. You've got Point Cook just down the road. You've got Geelong, Wyndham Vale. This is like prime tiger snake territory here. Before the houses were here, this was full of snakes, all swamplands and everything else. Now we've built houses. The houses are growing, the estates are growing. So the snakes get pushed in into residential, and that's why we see a lot more snakes these days.
And what kind of snakes are there in the area? Or
Well,
in Victoria then?
In Australia, we have probably 20 of the top 25 most venomous snakes in the world.
Aren't we lucky?
we are a lucky country. In Victoria, we've got number 2, which is the eastern brown. He's the second most venomous snake in the world. We've got number 4, which is the tiger snake. They're the 2 that we mainly find around here. And there's a few others along the way, the red belly black and the copperhead. You know, they're in the top 10 to 20 there.
If I see a snake in my backyard, what do I do? Call Stewie.
Yes, you can call me, or you know, I can't be everywhere at once, so there are other catchers around. But yeah, you see a snake in your backyard, the first thing you should do is, you know, be still and don't panic. All right, snakes don't attack you for no reason. Snakes will only attack if they feel threatened or scared. If you see a snake, just step away from it slowly, no sudden movements, get on the phone, call a snake catcher. Keep an eye on the snake, you know, because they can hide and they can move pretty quick. If you see the snake down, you can keep an eye on it from a safe distance. Till the catcher gets there, it's going to make his job a lot easier, or their job a lot easier to catch the snake, and puts peace of mind in your head that the snake's gone. Because if we can't find it, you won't sleep that night, believe me.
What do you do with the snake then?
So by law, we have to relocate that snake. So you're not allowed to kill them because they're native.
Yep.
So if we catch it from here, we have to relocate anywhere within 5 kilometres radius.
Okay, so they stay around the same area?
Around the same area. So that a snake doesn't fare too well if it's outside its region. You know, they're specifically bred and born here, so they get used to the area. They are territorial, and it stops overpopulating other areas.
So you mentioned before, if you see a snake, don't move. Can the snake see you, or can he just sense movement?
So snakes don't see in 3D like we do, they see in 2D. So they see a shape. So when you move suddenly, it picks up a movement. So it'll stop and look at you. That's why we tell people, if you remain still, the snake doesn't feel a threat and it'll just go on its way.
Can you scream?
you can scream as loud as you can, because the snake doesn't have ears, it can't hear you. So
Okay,
the louder you scream makes no difference.
well, at least people can hear you.
That's right, that's right. So yeah, you know, by alerting other people around, the snake's not going to be frightened off by the sound, that's for sure.
Have you ever been bitten by a snake?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I
Look,
won't jinx you.
no, look, I mean, if you play with fire long enough, eventually,
yeah.
you know, you're going to get bitten. But I never try and grab the sharp end, put it that way. I always try and stay away from the sharp end. But
What happens? What do you do if you're bitten by a snake?
first of all, don't wash the bite site, all right, because the doctors will at the hospital, they'll use a swab. They'll take a swab of the thing to see, to determine what kind of snake. So don't wash the bite site. Bandage from there, leave the tips of your fingers showing. Bandage from there up to the top of your limb, put it in a splint and sit down and relax. Call an ambulance.
Don't drive.
Don't drive.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't drive, just sit straight where you are. Call an ambulance and wait for the ambulance to come and get you.
And let them handle it.
All right. If you can mark on the bandage, you know, the time of the bite and put an X, when you get to hospital, they'll cut away the bandage from that area. They'll take their swab, whatever. If it comes back positive, they'll give you a shot of antivenin. You'll be hooked up to their machine, and they wait, and they'll, you know, depending on whether you've been bitten or how much venom is inside, is how much antivenom that you get.
Are you a dad now, if I'm not mistaken?
I am,
You're
yeah.
a father
I've got
now.
two kids. They love the snakes and the frogs and the crocodile and, you know, the lizards that I've got at home. They come out with me every now and again to catch snakes. I'll pick them up from school and I'll get a call and I'll say, come on, we're going to go catch a snake. So we'll be on our way. The eldest one, I'll give him a hook and I'll say, just, you know, help me look. And
Wow.
he looks. They know what to do. You know, I've drummed it into them from a young age. If you see a snake, what do you do? And you can ask them 100 times. They always give the right answer, so.
They should have great stories for show and tell.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They take photos, and every now, you know, I've taken a lizard into the school there and shown them.